Hi guys, welcome back for another video. I'm Jess and I'm one of the creative designers here at Sizzix. Today I want to share with you some fun Thanksgiving makes that you can create at home to decorate your Thanksgiving table this year. I'm going to show you guys how to make some of these gorgeous candle wraps. So hopefully you can see those using some of our rose gold aluminium sheets, or you could use any. These come in rose gold, silver and gold, but yes, some really gorgeous candle wraps using some of our new chapter 4 dies, in particular that bold floral edges die along the bottom there and some of the silhouettes of the deer and stuff like that. And then I'm also going to show you guys how to make this really pretty napkin ring for your napkins for your Thanksgiving table. So we've got some of the chapter 4 dies up here, and then one with the little tag saying thankful along there. So if you are interested and you want to check any of the dies that I mentioned, so any of those chapter 4 dies, definitely head on over to the Sizzix website, and if you grab some of those, definitely pop my discount code in, Jess20, and that'll give you some money off. So whether it is the edges die or maybe the floral die or even the aluminium sheets that I'm going to use. So definitely don't forget to pop in that discount code if you are grabbing yourself something. But if you want to see how I made these two makes ready to decorate your Thanksgiving table this year, then definitely keep on watching. Okay, so I'm going to make two makes in this video, all surrounding by Thanksgiving. And the first one I'm going to make is a candle wrap. So I'm going to be using an electric candle, like an LED, so it just has a switch on the bottom. And that's what I'm going to work with, because obviously I don't want to be sticking things to an actual candle. If you've got things like a glass tumbler or something around your candle, then that's fine. You can decorate the glass. That is the beauty of the material that I'm going to be using. But I am going to be working on a sort of fake candle for the purposes of this video. And what I'm going to be using is some of our aluminium sheets. So I'm going to be using the rose gold because I'm going to go in for a rose gold theme. And the die that I'm going to be using for the candle wrap is the bold floral edges die. So mine is not on pretty packaging, but yours would be if you got it. So these are kind of edge dies, and I'm going to use these as kind of wraps, okay? So I'm going to use that middle one, I think, and I'm going to take some of the aluminium sheets. So just for reference, the aluminium sheets, you get a pack of 10, and it is a very, very thin metal. So this is actually metal, which is why I'm going to use it for the candle, because it's going to be more long wearing than if I sort of spray adhesived a card onto my candle. You could obviously do that, but this is going to be a little bit more long wearing, and particularly if you're wanting to work on top of glass. So if you're using a glass tumbler, this would work, I think, a lot better, okay? And what I also like is this has an adhesive back, so I don't have to worry about putting an adhesive on myself or putting a glue on or anything like that. I'm going to cut it and it's going to have that adhesive already on the back, which is fantastic. So that's what we're going to use, and I've already cut a small section out because you kind of want to work along an edge for this. So I want to make sure I have a relatively thin edge along that side of the die, because that is going to show on my die cut, okay? So I'm going to bring in my machine. And I'm going to quickly cut that out. If you need to hold the die in place, just use some maker's tape and it should cut out really nicely just with one swipe, okay? So we can take away that die, and as you can see, because these are edge dies, they don't fully cut all the way to the edge, which is why I've done it on quite a small piece, and I've done it to as close as to the edge, a straight edge for that. So you make sure it's a really nice straight edge. It could be the edge of the actual piece of aluminium sheet because they are perfectly straight, and just line up your die. And then we're just going to take our scissors and snip those two edges, because obviously we're using this die slightly different than intended. So I'm going to want to snip those edges and take away that top section. Okay. Any bits that haven't come out, just take your die pick and make sure they've come out. To be fair, you can just give them a little wiggle with your finger and they'll come out as well. Okay, so you're going to want 2 of those, and equal in sort of width along the bottom as well. And I can bring in my candle. So what I'm going to do is I'll take the one that we just cut first, and I'm going to peel off that adhesive back. Okay. And this just makes things so much easier. And I'm going to do it bit by bit because I want to make sure that it lines up with the bottom of the candle. So literally just make sure bit by bit that your alignment along the bottom is perfectly lined up. So you can just peel it back off if you need to. And just make sure it's nice and straight. And then literally just keep going. And then we can firmly press it into place afterwards. Just give that a really firm press. And that's just so easy and simple. And look how pretty that is. So we literally just want to fill in that other section around the other side. So I'm just going to literally just carry on from that section here. And we can always trim this down, which I think I might do. But to be fair, that looks okay, overlapped there. There we go. And they almost perfectly meet each other, depending on the width of your candle, obviously. If you've got a bigger one, you might want to do more than 2 sections that wrap together. But that is the idea. And then hopefully once you turn it on, you probably won't be able to see on camera, but you'll get the silhouette of the wrap along the bottom. So simple and so pretty. If you wanted to add to that, I have done. So I've added to that I cut out one of the different wraps along the bottom, and then I'm just going to check that I've got the name right of the die. So those little deer and the little rabbit and the mushrooms and the little jumping fox, I've added those from the Woodland Nature die set. So that's also in chapter 4, and I just added that just before I did the wrap along the bottom with the bold floral edges, and it just added a little extra silhouette. And because I've done them all with that rose gold aluminium sheet, they're going to show off just as kind of silhouettes, which I think would be so pretty on your Thanksgiving table. I love these, so simple and so effective. So that is one make, so one nice and easy one for your decorating your candles on your Thanksgiving table. Another one is I want to do a napkin ring. So to start that off, I've got a thin piece of cardstock. You could make yours thicker, but I just wanted to keep mine relatively thin. And I'm going to start this is going to be the main base of my napkin ring. So I'm going to use my fold and form tool just to start off that curve. So I'm just going to pop it inside of that slit in my fold and form and just give it a pull, and already I've almost got that perfect curl there. So I'm just going to bring in my express glue, and I'm just going to glue those sections down. So they overlap quite a bit, but that's absolutely fine. Just make sure that they line up nice. You just want to place a little bit of glue down, hold it there, and then I'm going to place some glue in the inside section. Hopefully you can see that, so just on that inside bend there. as well. You could use double-sided tape for this if you prefer, or something like that. I think the express glue does the job perfectly. It's really a strong hold glue, but it depends. Like if you're worried about getting glue anywhere and it being a little bit messy, then just use double-sided tape or adhesive roller or something like that. So that's what you're kind of aiming for. So you want to leave that to dry for a couple of minutes, and then once it's dry, you've got that ring shape. And then I'm going to start to add some details. So I'm going to use the Winter Nature die. So these are some of the sections that I've cut from that die set. It's mostly kind of like autumn and fall foliage, but obviously it depends on the kind of colours that you cut. There's also little mushrooms in this set and acorns, but I'm just using the leaves today. And I've cut them mostly from this kind of range of cardstock. So I've used the eclectic cardstock mostly for this burnt orange and the dark berry colour and things like that, like these two colours as well. But you could also use mostly neutrals as well, so it's completely up to you. So I'm going to start to build up my scene. So again, using glue, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a little bit on the back of my hand. If I had something to pop it on, like a mat, I could totally use that as well. If you don't want to pop glue straight onto your skin, I totally get that. I just don't want to get too much glue on the back of my die cuts. Okay, so I'm just going to build these up as a little bouquet almost. Okay, don't worry if you've got a little bit of mess here and there. The leaves that you put over the top are pretty much going to cover it. I'm going to pop that at the back, I think. And then I can start to add some of the leaves at the front. Try and make all the leaves slightly different in colour when you're cutting them out. Obviously they can be from the same family, but just make them slightly different from colour. And if you do want them slightly curved or anything like that, you can just take them in your finger and give them a little bit of a curve. So that's completely up to you. If you want to keep them really flat or you want them to have a slight curve, so I can just take that in my fingers and give that a bit of a curve. Okay, one more I think. And there you go. So you want to have something that looks like that. So you've got a cluster of leaves. So again, leave that to dry for a couple of minutes. And then once it's dry, just make sure everything is secure. And then we can bring in some twine or yarn or string or anything like that. And we can start to wrap that around, okay? So I want to glue this to the back of my napkin ring. Now you could use tape or express glue. You want to just make sure it's secure. I can probably use some hot glue. So if I just take a little dab of hot glue. Okay, so a little dab of hot glue there. And then I can just press that string into it and just make sure that's secure without too much mess. And then I'm going to wrap that around across where all of those leaves have kind of joined up, and then just wrap it around about 3 times. Okay, so you can cross them over if you want to. So I've just kind of crossed mine on the join of all those leaves. So it can be really straight or a little bit messy. And then I'm just going to snip off the back and then secure that little bit at the back as well. So again, just another little bit of hot glue. And press that down. There you go. Okay, so we've got that string. And then I'm going to take a extra couple of sections of string, so just an extra bit there. I'm going to cut that a little bit more, so I've got one slightly larger and one slightly smaller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little tag and a little bow. So I've got my tag ready here, and again I just want to check that I've got the the right name. So this one is the layered label. So this is the smallest label from the layered label set, and what I've done is I've just cut it out of some cream cardstock and I've placed a little sentiment on there. So I hand drew this, I typed in whatever word I wanted, so thankful calligraphy, into my search bar, and it just found a really nice font and just copied it basically. If you want to use a stamp or a die set instead, completely up to you. I just didn't have one small enough for what I wanted, and you could totally change up the sentiment. So on every person's plate or napkin ring holder, you could have a different word. So things like thankful, blessed, grateful, all sorts of things, just really nice, positive words. And then I just poked a little hole in the top there, so you could do that using a hole punch or with just your die pick. And then I'm going to feed through some string. Probably should make that hole a little bigger actually. Just gonna feed through that string, or attempt to. If you're struggling, just take some tweezers and just feed that through like that. And then pull your tweezers out. There you go. Okay, so I'm just going to thread that through and then literally go underneath those 3 layers of string on my napkin ring. Again, take my tweezers and just feed that under and attach that. So I'm going to leave that dangling just a little bit, not too much, just a touch, and then secure that in place. So just a double knot. Sorry, this is a little fiddly, but yeah, just a double knot around that middle section, and then you can snip off those edges, and then we can hide all. We can hide all that with a bow. And we can secure it all together as well. So we've got our little tag, and then I'm going to feed through, again, another piece of string just underneath, and secure that in a bow. Okay. So nothing fancy. I'm just going to turn that towards me just so I can do a half decent bow. It really doesn't have to be anything fancy or special. Just a nice simple bow. You could do it in a different kind of string if you wanted a bit of a contrast, and then we can just trim off some of those elements. There we go. And then all I need now is a napkin. So if I just take my napkin, place it in there, and you have a really gorgeous napkin ring, perfect for your Thanksgiving table. So we've got the napkin ring, we've got those stunning candles, and then if you did watch my other video about, I think it was about the magnetic sheets, I also made place name holders for my Thanksgiving table as well. So they all match, they all go perfectly together with the colour scheme and the rose gold and the twine and even the dies that I've used. So those are just a few really nice inspiration ideas for your Thanksgiving table this year. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys, and following along on how to make these lovely candle wraps using that rose gold aluminium sheet, or even the napkin ring with that gorgeous little tag and that foliage element there. And obviously I did mention the name cards that I made in a previous video, so if you want to check those out, definitely head on over to that video and check those out. But if you do recreate the candle wrap or even the napkin ring that I made today, definitely leave a image down below. I'd love to see any of your makes and any of your Thanksgiving tables this year. Leave me an image and a comment down below. Definitely put in that hashtag #mymakingstory as well, so we can share it across our socials. I'd love to see it. And if you grab any of those dies or any of the products that I mentioned today over on the Sizzix website, don't forget to use that discount code Jess20 and that will save you some money. So I can't wait to see you guys decorate your tables this Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. I can't wait to see you in the next video, but until then, stay safe and keep crafting. Thanks, bye.